to the Eternals cast, Matthew.
Eternals? Cringe. More like
Yeah, I'd rather talk about a different movie. Let's talk about Venom: Let There Be Carnage, because there hasn't been enough like exposure on that film, I think.
Eternals, more like cringe Eternals.
I wouldn't say that.
But
Like,
I saw a post recently about Venom too. Again, besides that one I showed you, and it was about a guy who was talking about. He's like, he said he was a Carnage fan, and he was talking about the best like parts of Carnage in the film and the worst parts. And that like the best parts list, he had like 5 points like for it, and then like the worst parts he had like 3, and then the bottom one said that's about it because I think it was actually very well done in the film.
there's just a lot of
And
things
and
like
and
wrong.
like the best parts about it were just like random things. He's like, yeah, I thought the design of that one fight scene was cool. I thought Woody Harrelson was a good actor. I liked his voice in that one part. Okay, best now on to the worst. Pretty much a flawless character for me.
You know, just yes. So Eternals came out, and we went and watched Eternals.
The
He
most
saw it a few
fucking
days
the
before me.
most fucking hyped
I
film ever. It's just the most hyped MCU film ever.
Yeah, so it's really weird. I just saw it today, but like leading up to this, as long as I've known about it, I was not excited for Eternals at all. I mean, if you listen to our previous episodes, by the way, sorry for the day delay this week, but if you listen to anything that we talked about leading up to this, and we like mentioned Eternals a few times, like I was not excited at all. Like I really didn't care about this movie. But I decided to go see it because it's the MCU, which I've been following for a long time now, obviously, and it's a new release, something to talk about. Um, and I went and saw it, and now I have seen it, and that is where we're at currently.
Was the theater packed, by the way?
It was decently packed, because it was a 1:30 showing, so it was actually like a pretty good amount of
Well, yeah,
people for like that.
it's also a holiday, I guess. So
Yeah, and it's Veterans Day, so like it was. I mean, there was a good amount of people for like a matinee. Honestly, it was cool to see that amount of people because I'm not used to seeing that people like that at like a 1:30 showing on a Thursday.
yeah, from what I remember at mine I went like at a Saturday, so it was like the day after it came out. It was like fairly busy, but it wasn't like honestly Dune was more packed on like a Monday night. It was weird, but
That's weird. Well, Dune I think was a lot more hype. Like for me personally, at least.
oh, Dune is so much better than this movie. This is like leagues behind Dune.
Yeah.
But I mean, my hype level was fairly low this film. I mean, I didn't think it was gonna be terrible or anything, but just the trailers really didn't excite me at all, and it didn't seem like there was much of a plot being presented, and there was like it seemed like there was way too many characters. There's like 10 main characters in this, and like 3 of them have any development. But
Yeah.
also spoiler warning: they kill like 3 of them, or something like that, and it was very random.
Around there. I mean, it's a little weird because, like, honestly, my expectations weren't very high. I went into it, I wasn't really like excited, but like maybe it could have been entertaining, and it was quite a bit better than I expected. I will say that. I do think that there's a lot to like about this movie. That's why I think like audiences have been so high on it so far. There's also a lot that like kind of drags it down. It's really weird because like I don't think it's like that good, but it has like a few things that really did impress me. So it kind of like it kind of elevated it a bit. So I don't know. This is a really weird movie. It's kind of weird to judge for me.
Well, for 100%, I think one thing that was 100% great about this, visually the film looked very well done. Even better than like Shang-Chi, if I'm being honest. Just like it felt like the CGI was very well incorporated, and nothing really looked fake. And all the actors definitely gave it their all. I don't think any of the actors were necessarily bad.
I mean, honestly, seeing Salma Hayek was like really weird because like I can't really take her seriously anymore after some of the movies she's done.
And she wasn't
Well, like,
even
she
in the
didn't
movie.
respond.
She wasn't even in the movie that much. I mean, they kill her off pretty early on. She's just kind of in like flashbacks after that, and then like
And then
the twist at the end, which I did like the twist. I didn't mind the twist. I didn't really see it coming because I don't know anything about the comics, and um, I did like Icarus because he was at least like had like a conflict going on, and he at least like served a plot. He served for the plot, and he wasn't just kind of thrown in. And I don't know if he's dead. I don't really know if he's dead or not. But they kind of just kind of ended that weird in the storyline. The whole lead up was good for that, but then just kind of like ended, and that was kind of it. And now there's just like there's just a half god being just sticking out of the earth that like every MC movie is now gonna have to address. And yeah,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, I think out of like the primary cast members, like the people who were featured the most, their performances were strong enough to keep the film going. Like the only performances I didn't like were the ones of like more minor characters, or like it wasn't necessarily that they were bad. It was just kind of distracting, kind of like Salma Hayek and
the little
David
girl.
Tyree Henry. He's not bad, but like every movie that he's in, he's like kind of like a comic relief, and like he does a good job
The
like trying to be
only
serious.
the only good scene, though, like actually like only really good scene I remember with him in it was the Hiroshima scene because I didn't expect that.
Yeah, yeah.
And that
I
was
was gonna get into that.
that was
Because
really
that is
good.
really good.
It was kind of weird though, just Sami Hayek's character. I think what was her name in the movie? I don't remember all the Eternals. Was it Ajak? Something like that.
Salma Hayek was Ajak.
Yeah, she was just kind of there. I don't know. Just kind of appeared there, but it was a really good scene. Really good acting.
Yeah, I don't know what like her powers were outside of healing herself. Like
I think
I
that
don't remember
was
her
it.
doing.
Besides being like kind of strong, I don't know. She doesn't really do much.
Yeah, no, that was really weird. But like, yeah. Well, what were you saying? Like with what you were saying about the visuals, I did really think it had a great visual style. I don't know how to say it. Chloe Zhao. I don't know how to pronounce the director's name, but she had a very distinct way of going about it, and I think visually it was really impressive. It had a great visual direction, great artistic direction.
Yeah, I think
that was
I think
one of
just
the things that kept me excited throughout the movie.
yeah, just the biggest problems I think for me were the script and the character development, and
Yeah,
the
because,
villains
like,
were
we
also
know-
outside of Icarus, who wasn't really a villain until the end. Like the main villains, that were like there for like 2 hours of the film, were just nothing really. And then like there's like one left at the end, and then they just kind of kill that one anyway, and it's just like okay.
Right. There were a lot of like plot threads that like got brought up and then were either abruptly ended or they weren't like fully fleshed out. There were quite a few issues with the screenplay in that. The character development's a weird thing because all of the characters were distinct and like I were interested in all of them and like, but some were definitely portrayed a lot better than others, especially within the confines of the story. Like, because we're used to Marvel movies and like because we're so used to seeing like these like hero type characters and they get built up and they get like a lot of fleshed out backstory. Here we get a lot thrown at us all at once, and like individually within this film, it kind of drags it down a little bit because we're just there's so much we have to get at one time, and like honestly, like the runtime was kind of bloated and it did drag a little bit, a lot less than I expected, but it kind of did. But like it's still, I mean, it seems like it spent a lot of time on certain things where we should have been spending more time on other things, and that's why it kind of dragged for me. Because we should have seen a lot more of like certain like character moments that were really good. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a lot of unnecessary things that like they didn't feel like they had to 100% be cut out, but they didn't really need to be there. There was also like these big things they kept promoting about the film, that there was like a same-sex couple and that there was a sex scene in the film, and like those things were just really unneeded and they were just kind of there.
Yeah, it was like a really weird like 30-second like sex scene.
And like they kept hyping it up as like a really big thing, but like it's really tame because you don't see anything below like the back, and it's just like 10 seconds long, and it's like okay. I think
it was like literally nothing. Just like it was as PG-13 as a sex scene can be, honestly.
Yeah, and then I think there was like almost a sex scene in Iron Man that was like way more. So I don't know why this one got hyped up so much, but and then like they like a same-sex kiss, which I guess has got this movie banned in a lot of other countries, which sucks. That's dumb that happens, but it also
especially since it's not like even like really prominently featured, and like what's cool about it, it was just kind of naturally put in there, and it was just like, okay, this is cool. It's just fun.
Yeah, it wasn't like there's any plot reason to have a gay couple. It just kind of seems they wanted to do that, so they just put it in.
Right, it's just...
It wasn't like disrespectful or anything. It didn't really mean anything. Like, if I was gay, I wouldn't really think that was inclusive. It was just kind of there. But
right.
The plotting of the film, like especially like the first like hour and a half to like 2 hours, was very slow. And like the story, like the structure was just very weird because they would have flashbacks and then they would have flash forwards and then like a flashback for 5 minutes and then a flash forward for 20 minutes, and it just kept going back and forth. Even towards the end, they were having flashbacks to like a week ago, and it was all over the place. And then one aspect I really did like, because I really loved how they did the scale and how they presented the characters with the Celestials. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah.
Especially like in the theater, you could really feel their scale and their presence, and then the whole added subtext, not the subtext, but like that I guess the Celestial has been in Earth the whole time. At first it didn't really work for me. I thought that was kind of random to add in, but I think it works for the most part. They established that it's not just Earth that happened to, and that it's like a universe-wide thing, and it did add a dilemma to the plot, and it almost added more to the Thanos was right discussion, which was kind of interesting, that Thanos in a way prevented that from happening for 5 years. And I guess that was probably the only good reference, that was probably the only good integration into the actual MCU that worked, because every other time they referenced like Thor or like Iron Man, I didn't hate it or anything. It just felt like kind of just added in and not really natural.
It didn't feel like it made sense. Like the Sprite character was like, so now that like Rogers and Iron Man are gone, like who's gonna lead the Avengers? And it was like, okay, well let's talk about this. And they're like, oh, Icarus can do it. It's like, okay, well this is just weird. But
also that doesn't make sense in the plot because there's a new Captain America, because Falcon's now Captain America. Like I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, there's like Doctor Strange, Spider-Man. Like, why do you think fucking Icarus is the leader? What?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. But like, I mean, it does have some issues with some of that. Also, I didn't think the dialogue was like, it left a lot to be desired. I think it wasn't terrible.
The whole Cersei and Icarus relationship, I feel like it wasn't like terribly done, but I didn't care for like either of their relationships because I didn't really have a connection with them, because both of them were pretty emotionless for the most part. And I get that they're like gods that lived for like thousands of years, and like they broke up a long time ago, and she's like with a different dude who is barely used in this movie. He's like in the very beginning, and he's like in the very end, and he's in a post-credit scene, and that's it.
This movie, and he gets established in the end credit scene as a new like character that will most definitely be like in the future of the MCU, and he's like barely in this movie, like as like a love interest. He's just kind of there.
Yeah, and then I guess the voice.
Just Kit Harington, Game of Thrones guy.
Yeah, and then the voice at the end, the post-credit scene, I guess it was confirmed that it was Blade. So I guess Blade...
Yeah, that was I could tell that was Mahershala Ali who was cast to play Blade in the MCU.
But it's such a weird placement to have him in the end credit scene of an Eternals movie as a voice only.
Yeah, talking to who's gonna be the Black Knight, I assume who that guy's gonna be, Kit Harington, because the Ebony Blade, I think, is what they were referencing there.
Yeah, because I bring up the Ebony Blade at one point earlier in the movie, so I think that's probably... I don't know that character's like powers or anything, because he says he's a normal human, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was just a really weird movie to bring all that stuff up, and then also like just establishing heroes like Harry Styles was in this movie.
Apparently people freaked out at that, but like it's just kind of whatever. I don't know what they could do with a Thanos brother without Thanos there. It's just kind of a character now. It's not like you really need the familial connection. I don't know how it is in the comics, if like they grew up together, if like there's gonna be like some Thanos backstory we're gonna see, but I don't really need it at this point because Thanos is dead. So, um, yeah, I just kind of felt put in to put in. Also, like Patton Oswalt's like a little fucking troll, and it's just like, what movie is this?
Yeah. When that guy showed up, I was like, what? Why? Why is this?
Also, the movie ends on a really big cliffhanger, and it's just like I don't know if I want a sequel like an Eternals 2. I don't know if I need that. I mean, I guess more movies of like these characters, different movies of like these characters in it. I guess would be cool, but I don't really like need like another Eternals ensemble movie.
Yeah, they were like the Eternals will return, and they had all that stuff going on, and I was like, well,
And the movie isn't doing well, like reception wise, at least from critics, because this is the first like rotten MCU movie. It's not like the first rotten like Marvel movie, but it's the first rotten MCU movie, I think.
Yeah, I think that's
Which is
true.
so weird because this movie should at least. I think this movie is probably like 50s, 60s territory for Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if it's worse than Thor 2. Which it's like.
I definitely like this better than Thor: The Dark World.
And it's like below. It's like below Incredible Hulk and like Iron Man 2, and like I don't. Maybe I could find myself watching those movies over this one because one, they're shorter, and two, it's like with characters I like more. But like, as like a movie, this is definitely better than those. And
I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing with Eternals, the thing with this movie, is that like it is kind of bloated. It's a long run time, and it does drag a little bit, but it is really deliberate with its pacing in a good way. And like these characters, like they just aren't really known of like from like what their actual source material is, but the story is engaging enough to be entertaining for people. I think that's why most people are actually attached to it, because like it can actually be rather engaging, and it's visually interesting enough to keep me engaged. And like just the combination of that. I mean, yeah, the narrative is just is kind of subpar, and maybe the dialogue and like some other issues, but like I don't think it's as bad as like a lot of like because the MCU does have some stinker movies. Like let's just be real.
Yeah, and this movie is like very just mid, which I guess it really doesn't help this movie because I don't really know if I'll ever rewatch it. I wouldn't hate myself if I rewatched it. There's definitely enough for me to like come back and probably enjoy it or like find things that I missed. But
it was a bit refreshing though because it was a lot. It was
a lot more serious. It was a lot more serious. It was a lot more serious. There wasn't as many jokes, which I liked.
Yeah, I mean. It was cool because it was more serious in tone, and like I said, more deliberate with its pacing. But like the weird thing is like they did have some like comedic moments that kind of like broke the tension in some moments. And I was like, okay, well that's
Yeah, like some of the jokes. Some of the jokes worked, and that was mainly with I think his name's Kingo, and then his like cameraman guy. That like comedy worked, and like it made sense. It made sense in the story because he was like an actor, and like they were like they bounced off each other good, and then. The guy from Godzilla vs. Kong, what's his name?
David.
Yeah. He like had some comedic bits that were like they were fine because he's like a comedic actor.
Right.
But like when Icarus would make jokes, it just didn't land right. When any of the serious characters made jokes, it didn't land right. That one scene where I think it was Gilgamesh, where like they tell him that like Ajax dead, and he just like they had a good moment where like he looks really sad, but then like they have him like drop his pie, and I was like, what was the point of that? It wasn't funny.
Out of all of like the reveals, like when they revealed all in the Ajax dead, like that one was like it took away a lot of the emotional weight because it was like, oh, he dropped his pie. Now we're sad because he dropped pie. Like, what is happening?
Like your, I guess, maternal figure is dead, and all your friends are there they haven't seen for like thousands of years. And also he's like taking care of Angelina Jolie's character, who has like a weird plot, like narrative about her having like basically like dementia or something. And like
like a weird type of thing. And because she's such a powerful being, it plays into her like trying to like kill her friends.
And like there was that really good scene where like when they tell her that she has that, and like she has like a breakdown because she doesn't want to lose her memories, and that was actually a pretty good scene.
Yeah, that might have been my favorite scene in the movie because Druig, who was one of my favorite characers.
Yeah, he really surprised me. He looks like Discount Miller, but he was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, I really liked his performance and his character, and I just like that moment when he was like seeing all of these issues with humanity after all these years and always being told that I can't do anything about it, when I know that in an instant I can fix all of it. and that's like how he thinks, and like it was really cool for him to like, and he was like, all right, and now I'm gonna be doing this, and if you want to stop me, you're gonna have to kill me. And like that moment actually felt like it had a lot of weight, and I really liked it. I wish that there were a lot more moments like that, but like that scene was probably my favorite. And then the Hiroshima scene with David Tyree Henry, his character, Phasmos or something like that. When like he was like crying and he was like, they can't be helped. He's like, I can't believe that like my advancements could have led to this or whatever. Like those two scenes were really good. They carried a lot of weight, and I think is what really elevated the narrative at those points. And then like the rest of it, I was just kind of like, okay, well, I wish we had more of that.
Yeah, I feel like those were the two best scenes. And then the other really good scene was when the twist was that Icarus killed Ajax, and then like you see him in the field like just lose his shit. That was a pretty good scene too.
Yeah, I think they're really good.
And the final fight scenes. Yeah, the final fight scenes were weird because they were like fine. It was just like on like a dry landscape, and it wasn't really exciting. And they're all just fighting like Icarus, so it's just kind of them just like putting roadblocks at him for like 10 minutes until they just freeze this celestial popping out of the earth. It's like an earth-shattering event, but it feels really oddly small in like the grand scheme of things. And
yeah, it was weird to think about because this is like the thing that would end the entire world.
Like even worse than Thanos, because even Thanos didn't end the world. It was just like taking out half a life, but then this is like way bigger because this is like destroying the whole planet, and it feels so much smaller. This feels like an Avengers level threat than an Eternals movie, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, it was kind of weird because like how it was presented in the movie is that like this world gets destroyed so that like so many more worlds can be created or whatever, but then like they want to save it because of their own bias, which is like weird. Like if they actually are like who is actually like doing the right thing here? Who's actually evil? It's a really weird way to set it up, and like I don't know, it was just I don't know how to feel about it. And that moment also, it was really weird to me because like everyone was talking about Icarus, and they were like, oh, he's like by far the strongest or whatever, and I was like, I don't know, it seems like if any of them had a 1v1 fight, it could be pretty even. To me, honestly, like I don't know, Druid seemed like really powerful, unless I mean I guess he can't like mind control the other Eternals, okay, but like I mean, the guy like stopped him for like a while, and he like held him down with like whatever his power is, like creating things out of nowhere. I don't know what his power is, but whatever any of it is, it just seemed like, well, I mean, yeah, he can fly and shoot lasers, but I mean, is he really way more powerful than the other ones?
He's just like Superman powers basically, and like there's that one scene where I think it's like Makari or something. It's the Flash basically, and she has a pretty good fight scene with him. I liked how her powers were shown. They were like different enough from like just looking like the Flash or like Quicksilver. It was also weird though because they just had her like as like deaf, and like it didn't seem like there was any story reason for it. She was just deaf. And it was the same with.
Good representation of sign language and like using it in like normal conversation.
Yeah, but, like, it's weird because these Celestials are making like these perfect like vessels to like blend into human society, and then like you have one of them who's just like a kid who can't stop being a kid, and like the other one's just deaf, and it's just like, and like one of them has like a brain problem. And it's just like I don't know. This is like a weird. It was kind of weird, but it wasn't like bad representation or anything.
Yeah.
But and then that whole Sprite character, that was probably like the worst character because she just like becomes.
Yeah, I really didn't like Sprite. I mean, obviously he was like a child actor, so like you're not gonna expect that much from him. But like, it was just kind of like all the scenes were like she was prominently featured. I was like, okay, this is just kind of whatever. And then she was like, I guess because she's actually like thousands of years old, just in a child's body, and she like loved Icarus or whatever, and like Kumail Nanjiani's character like knew it, and then like she was like went with him, and she tried to stop them, and I don't know, everything about her character I just didn't like that much.
Also, like she like stabbed.
I thought her abilities were cool, but that's it.
She like stabbed Cersei, and then at the end they just kind of like are friends again. And she's like, okay, you can be human now. It's just like, okay, what's this plot line?
Like, hey, you stabbed me, but I'll do this like really huge favor for you. Use the last of my energy from this like extremely like large event, and then like I'll like send you off like to school or whatever.
Yeah, she didn't want to be a kid, but now she has to go to school for like 5 years or something. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, and then the character didn't like seem grateful at all at the end, and I was like, what is this? What is happening?
Also, Kumanj, whatever his name is, Kingo, whatever, he just like disappears from the third act, and like he shows up back up at the end, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then like he's kind of like in that thing where they're like, oh yeah, like we like helped with this or whatever, and then like yeah, like dude, you left. Like what are you talking about?
Yeah, and then like at the end they all get abducted, and it's like, well, what the fuck is gonna happen now? And like, I honestly, I'm interested in what happens, but I really don't care.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't really care. I wasn't engaged enough to like continue past this. I mean, it was fine for just this movie. It was okay to watch, but like it was
and like
yeah.
I like the reception, and I don't think this movie's doing like absolutely great in theaters. I don't know if like a direct sequel is gonna happen or not, and if it did happen, it better not be 2.5 hours again, because I would probably just wait for it to go on streaming. I don't know, but this is it feels like such. It doesn't feel like a filler movie. It just kind of feels like a random movie. I don't feel like it's gonna have any plot significance in any of these like next Phase 4 films, and like I don't need it to do that. But it wasn't like a good enough movie on its own to really just warrant this movie being
Yeah,
made.
I mean, no part of me really dislikes it. I mean, I enjoyed the experience at least for the most part. Um, I obviously don't think it was incredible. I don't think it was that good. I think it was fine, and like I don't like love it. I'm not probably not going to be revisiting it anytime soon, uh, unless like future movies add more weight to this one. I mean, it
Which
has
they
its
always could.
strengths, and I
They
so
always
like,
could, but like on its own, it's just not anything breathtaking. Besides the visuals, I guess,
it's
which were really good.
yeah, the visuals are really good, and it's just like yeah, and it's a pretty good popcorn movie, a good surface level type of entertainment. It if you're not really because it doesn't have much depth and not as much substance. Plus, like you were saying earlier about like the plot structure, like it seemed really incoherent to me, and it just didn't really work as like they think that they were trying to get it to. At least not for me. I don't know,
I
but
mean, it was cool to like see
overall,
them like in
like
different parts of history, but it was just kind of like it was like randomly placed throughout, and like sometimes it didn't really even feel like it needed to like happen at that part in the story. So
yeah,
I mean, like the first scene where like they went to like ancient human like civilization and like fought the deviants then was cool, but like then all the other flashbacks, I don't really. Besides like the one with the really good scene of Angelina Jolie, all of them just kind of felt like they were there, but like I didn't really need them there. But and then one of the characters that like I don't know if this was just me, but like Gilgamesh's powers were like confusing because like he had like an Infinity Gauntlet arm, and that was like his whole power. Because
yeah,
it looked like the
he was
Infinity
like
Gauntlet.
strong or something.
It looked like the Infinity Gauntlet when like he would like use it, and like I don't know if that was like intentional or not, but like it was just weird because like I don't know what plot sense that made, but yeah,
Yeah, I have no idea. I was trying to like pinpoint what all of them could do because like, I mean, Sprite was like illusions and like stuff like that. Um, with like Cersei, it was like she could like change materials and basically like form things differently. Icarus is like Superman. Phasmos or Phasmos, whatever. I couldn't figure out what his
like
actual thing was. Like, yeah, he was really smart.
he
He
like
made like
constructed
technological
he like
advancements.
constructed stuff, but it looked like it was like just like energy construction. I don't know, and then
Super weird because then Kingo or whatever his name is, he like shot energy like out of his hands or whatever.
yeah, and
And
then
I don't. And then
Druig's whole power was just that he could
Gilgamesh.
like control people, which didn't help at all in the battle. So
Yeah, and Gilgamesh is strong, and Athena is like a warrior that can create like blades
she's like Wonder
out of
Woman.
energy.
She's just Wonder Woman, and then Makari
Yeah,
was like, yeah.
Druig was was probably my favorite character, like as a character, but like as like the actual like Eternals went, like as like heroes. I mean, I don't. It was just like I didn't really get like attached. It was whatever.
Yeah, it's because the characters didn't really get attached. They didn't really feel like a family. Just kind of felt like people that knew each other, and now they're here. Besides Gilgamesh and Athena, I thought their story was kind of interesting, but then they just kind of kill Gilgamesh, and I was just like, okay,
Right. There was a lot of different character dynamics that they tried to put together, like within their relationships, and it was like this isn't really landing as much as that like it should. I don't think. I mean, it was still fun. I mean, like this, like with Cersei and Icarus and like all of that. I don't know. It
it
was
just
just
kind of
all.
like it could have been an interesting like this like dissection of like a clearly relationship that kind of just went toxic because Icarus was like so focused on his own personal agenda. I mean, it could have been at least neat exploration, even for multiple movies, which I don't know if that's what they're gonna do because I feel like if they just kill Icarus in the movie, it's just a waste of his character because it'd be cool to like see him as like almost like an anti-hero in some other of these movies. But I don't know if they portrayed it as like a suicide. They like flew into the sun, but like I don't know if he would actually die in the sun because that's just like pure energy, and their powers are like derived from energy. So I don't know what that meant.
Yeah, I mean, they had they had some cool like story beats with how they talked about how Urshim, how he just like created them, and like every time that they go through this thing where they destroy a planet to create a bunch more, it's like to create a celestial, they just kind of like reset. That's why they don't remember,
And then
all that stuff.
Thena's the only one that does, and like her episode, she like remembers,
Right? Yeah.
which was it was kind of cool, but it was also like, no, it didn't like impress me or anything. But
Yeah, I mean, it was fun, but they could have done a lot more with it. I just think that there were a lot of missed opportunities.
and this movie had like
really,
this movie got delayed for like over a year, so it's like they very clearly they could have added stuff if they needed to fix stuff. Which is why a lot of these newer films are coming out. They got like a year delay. I'm not really gonna like excuse them for just like not having time to finish it. They clearly did. They could have done reshoots if they needed to.
yeah.
I mean, it was the same of Halloween Kills. Like, they left that movie untouched for over a year just because they wanted to get it released over a year ago. And if they just, like, rewatched these movies, like, a few times, they could have, like, really fixed some things. But, yeah, this movie's just kind of whatever. And I know the director's not, she doesn't have, like, a lot of movies, but she just did, like, an Oscar movie. Got, like, Best Picture last year. And this is, like, I haven't seen that movie, but this is definitely a step down from that, at least reception wise. And just I think they really wanted this to be like the next Guardians of the Galaxy, where it was just kind of like a new group of superheroes that virtually nobody really knew about, and just kind of like introduce them, and just have it be a banger, and just make like another like small franchise out of it. But like the reason why Guardians of the Galaxy worked is because the script and James Gunn, and that just wasn't really here for me. They had a good director, but just the script wasn't there. I don't know.
And also what made it worse was introducing so many, like all those characters at one time, but actually giving them well-established, character, backstory if needed, and like creating really good chemistry between all of them. And it made a really successful first movie and a great second movie as well, which is almost even better than the first because of those well-written dynamics.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's a lot of people that don't like Guardians too, and like I don't know, I might have enjoyed the second one more. I don't know.
I mean, both Guardians movies are really impressive comic book films. Like they're just like
it's what James Gunn. It's what James Gunn does. I mean, even the Suicide Squad was pretty good. Definitely a lot better than that first movie, and I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for Guardians 3 because that just started shooting. And the reason it might probably be one of the best trilogies like within the MCU. It's just Eternals is not. This first movie just wasn't there. I mean, of course they can improve upon it in future films. I mean, the MCU's done that before with sequels being better than the first one. I mean, just look at like Thor Ragnarok to the first two Thors, or like Captain America sequels to the first Captain America. But I don't know. I don't really see that. I'm not really excited for where these characters go. I mean, I don't know where even the cliffhanger ending's gonna go because they just kind of like abduct them and are just like, we're gonna judge you, and if it's not a good judgment, you die. And it's just like, well, what are you gonna do with that plot line? They're just gonna get judged, and that's it. Like, I don't know what more you're gonna do with that. And they also don't really like I don't know what the Celestials are really gonna play into the future because they don't really set up anything with them. They don't really show much of them. At least Guardians kind of like introduce like space as like a concept and like stuff to explore in the future, but the Celestials didn't really do anything here. And Thanos' brother, I don't know what plot significance he's going to have. And I guess Blade got introduced in this movie for some reason, which it'd make more sense to introduce him in like a Moon Knight show or just in his own movie. I don't know why he had to be introduced in the Eternals, but
yeah, also like just his voice at the end of the end credits is just like, what was the point?
And like, what is the next time we see Blade is going to be of this random character that's from Eternals that nobody's going to see. And I really don't know what they're going to do with Blade, so I mean, I'm interested, but I don't know if it's going to be like rated R or like what characters are going to be involved or what the story is going to be, because
yeah, I don't know. I mean, Blade is a cool character, so it'll be like interesting to see.
I mean, they really could have had a good villain with like Morbius and like have a cool Spider-Man connection, but that's not happening. But yeah.
Yeah.
Because like Morbius is a thing, which I'm pretty sure the trailer for Morbius was at the beginning of this, and like I really don't care about that movie.
Yeah.
I really don't care about that movie. I'm assuming we'll probably see it for the podcast, but I don't care about it at all.
Well, I saw the trailer in the theater, and I was just like, all right, well, I'm not excited for this at all. So
the movie also makes no sense at all. They have like a reference to like Amazing Spider-Man, then they have like a reference to like Spider-Man the originals, and then they have like Michael Keaton in it. So it's like, and then like Venom gets referenced, and it's like, what the fuck is this movie? And then Jared Leto's just like acting, and it's weird. The last thing I want Jared Leto to be is like a superhero star. He's not he's not that type of character.
No, Jared Leto would not do that well. So I have no reason to be excited for Morbius. I mean, I guess I wasn't excited for Eternals at all, but like I enjoyed it more than I expected. It wasn't necessarily a lot better than I expected, I guess. I mean, it definitely was more enjoyable though. I didn't hate it. I'm not upset with viewing it, but you know.
Yeah, it's such a meh movie. I mean, like I wasn't super excited for Shang-Chi or anything, but that movie was much better, at least entertainment wise. I mean, I guess it's like a movie structurally. This and Shang-Chi are probably around the same level.
Yeah, I gave Shang-Chi a 6 out of 10, and I'd say I'm probably gonna settle around a 5 out of 10 for Eternals because it had some impressive points, but it didn't really expand upon them, and it's not very good, but it's not very bad, so it's just kind of in the middle.
I mean, this is definitely better than Black Widow. I'll give it that. Black Widow sucks. I know you haven't seen it. I don't know if you're ever gonna see it, but yeah.
I have no drive to see that movie either.
I saw it in theaters on a whim because I guess Jasmine wanted to see it, and I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, it's a Marvel movie that I haven't seen, and I've seen all the other ones in theaters. I'm pretty sure. So, that movie was just such. It was the worst timing for that type of movie to come out. It was dumb.
Yeah. I just didn't care at all.
The movie should have came out in 2016 or 2015, not 2021. But yeah, I mean, this movie's fine. I mean, I'll probably settle for around a 5 or so. There are some pretty good scenes, some really good ideas in this movie. Just they're not executed great, and I don't love the movie. I mean, I will say all their costumes are really cool. And
yeah, good costume design. There's some really good set pieces, great visual direction, great artistic
again, we
style.
haven't mentioned the Deviants. I guess their backstory was kind of interesting once it was fully revealed, but just they fucking sucked. They had no plot significance. They just died, and they just gave Angelina Jolie an action scene at the end for 5 minutes, and it was just okay, why were they
I gotta say that super deviant that happened because it absorbed the energy of Ajak and then Gilgamesh, and then it was just and then it was about to kill Angelina Jolie's character, was about to kill Thena, and then she was all right, and now you're sliced up and dead. And it was okay, well, you didn't actually do anything with that. It could have been kind of cool. It was just weird, but you didn't do anything. What?
Yeah, it could have been cool.
Yeah,
it could have been cool, but then it just kind of ended, and it was kind of weird because then they just have Icarus as the villain at the end instead of the Deviants, because I guess they're not really the villains, but the whole movie they're displayed as villains and they're killing off the main characters. So,
right.
And then the Celestials are kind of villains too. I don't know. They're just kind of gods that just kind of go about their will, but they're definitely displayed as villains in this movie. So I don't know what they're doing, the Celestials, in the future, because it feels like they're definitely gonna be a mainstay now because they've introduced it. So, but
yeah, I don't know.
And then the next big Marvel project is Hawkeye, which is definitely not going to deal with anything that happens in this movie at all. I'm definitely more excited for Hawkeye than I am this, because at least that's going to probably be good. I don't know.
Doesn't the beginning of Hawkeye drop tomorrow?
What?
Doesn't Hawkeye drop tomorrow?
No, I think It drops like on the 24th, I think.
Interesting.
That's like when I come in town, so I probably won't be watching it then, but at least that's gonna be better, I guess. I don't know. And then we have Spider-Man, which is probably not gonna deal with any of this. So it's just kind of like I don't know why we need this movie now, because I don't really know what project these characters could come up in the future for like the next couple years. So I guess they're just gonna leave this whole plot line open ended for like another few years until they just make another movie. I mean, they gave Captain Marvel a sequel, so I guess they probably will give this a sequel. I definitely am more interested in Eternals 2 than anything Captain Marvel related, but
yeah,
or Ant-Man 3. I mean, Ant-Man 3 could be cool because like Kang's the villain, but like I don't. Ant-Man and the Wasp was so abysmal, and Ant-Man was so mediocre. I don't care for Ant-Man 3.
Yeah, I'm not excited. I mean, it could be really good though. I mean, Ragnarok was a really surprising third installment, especially.
Yeah, but it's the
like,
same. It's the same director again from the first two.
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely gonna have a good villain this time at least, but I don't know how Ant-Man fighting Kang the Conqueror is gonna go after Loki. So.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to see.
I mean, as long as we still have that clip of Paul Rudd saying Thor's hammer's name, I'm good.
Jonathan.
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 I mean, he's not wrong. Yeah, overall, I'm much more excited for the next few projects than I am this. I mean, we're
a month out from Spider-Man, No Way Home, so everyone's pretty excited about that, and that's gonna be a big deal.
Yeah, which there was a pretty big leak for that. There was like a leaked set image. I don't know if you heard about that, but like, it like showed like a pretty big spoiler for the movie. So pretty much like everything that people have been saying is like confirmed now, which is kind of like gets me a little excited, a little bit more excited. They just said they've been very.
Unless that turns out to have been like not accurate. But,
at this point, like Tobey Maguire and like Andrew Garfield don't show up in this movie, I'm be like upset, and like I know like I shouldn't be upset because that's just what people were saying, but like at that point, I want to see them. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see like how they actually do this. It is really close.
Apparently, we're gonna get a second trailer soon, so there's that, I guess, and then we have Doctor Strange coming out next year, which is not going to be related to this at all. I guess they will probably mention the Celestial just bursting out of the earth, but
I'm so hyped to see Wong again.
Yeah, Wong's been in like 7 things in the last like 2 months, and it's weird. But
like the popularity of the character is just like so random. But I am unbelievably excited for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That's probably my most hyped upcoming film, I gotta say. I'm more excited for that than Spider-Man, but Spider-Man is really hyped as well, so.
Yeah, I'm just worried about how they're gonna, because I'm hearing a lot of things that are gonna be in that movie. I hope it isn't like overstuffed, and it's like still focused on like Doctor Strange, because it's starting to feel like Doctor Strange is gonna be like a side character in his own movie. Because there was like a rumor like a month ago that like Owen Wilson's gonna show up in it, and I'm like, why would Owen Wilson show up in a Doctor Strange sequel? But okay.
Yeah, that wouldn't really make any sense.
Yeah, and I guess like Ultron bots are gonna show up in Doctor Strange too, and I'm like, why is that any near important? But I just hope I hope like it's good and not like overstuffed and like not focused at all, because the original director left, so I hope it's like not. I hope it's just because he didn't like want to do hit like the exact vision Marvel wanted, not that like he saw the movie was gonna be ass and left. So but I have faith in that one. Sam Raimi's a really good director, so
yeah, that's another big reason as to why I'm so excited. Great superhero, great premise, and great director. So
yeah, you never knew Sam Raimi would do a Doctor Strange movie, but like it fits him perfectly. And he even like mentioned Doctor Strange by name in Spider-Man 2, so he clearly likes the character. So
yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. There's just a lot of exciting stuff brewing, honestly. Especially since we still need to see how Loki and like how that's gonna tie into the films. Loki specifically. I mean, obviously there were a few shows, but Loki was just so good.
Oh yeah, and then WandaVision is going to tie pretty heavily into Doctor Strange too as well. So, yeah. Which I haven't watched that show in like months, but like I think it was good. From what I remember.
Yeah, WandaVision was fine. It was pretty good.
It was different, but it was fine. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how this movie's gonna fit. It's very much like Black Widow, where it's just kind of like I don't really know how these movies are gonna fit into like the current narrative without feeling forced. So we'll have to see. I mean, it'd be cool to like see these guys interact with like Doctor Strange, Captain America, the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy. It'd be cool to see them like interact with some of the other heroes, but I'm not dying to see it. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Whatever happens with these characters. Really, for me, it's just I won't be upset about it, but I'm not too hyped for it either.
All the people saying that like this is cinema, this is art, this is like the best, most refreshing MCU movie ever. Like I'll give you credit, it is different. It definitely feels different. But it's not art. It's not anything other than a Marvel movie. It's just a little bit different than the regular formula, and it doesn't really stick the landing entirely. So I did this stick probably a
Honestly,
5 out of 10 is probably what I'd give it. If you're a Marvel fan, I'd probably check it out. There's no reason to go out into the theaters right away, though. You can wait. It's not like a big deal if you don't see it or not. But yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, it was kind of funny. What was really cool with it, one thing that was really cool, was one of my favorite songs ever is "Time" by Pink Floyd, and they actually played that at the beginning of the movie, and like I was getting really into it, and I was like, honestly, it feels like this movie's trying to trick me into liking it with "Time" by Pink Floyd.
Yeah, that was good. I don't remember if it was like inserted correctly or if it was just kind of put in there for like pop culture, but it was.
Right,
like,
yeah.
They also mentioned like K-pop, and I was like, stop it. And then like they have the whole like Bollywood dance number, and it's like, okay, that's cool for like the culture, but like what? Why do I need this 5-minute scene in this already 2.5-hour film? I don't care.
Yeah. It could have been a bit shorter. I don't know. It did drag a bit. That was one thing that's kind of like an obvious like criticism, but
I get it. It's an oppressive scene, whatever. It's culture, Indian culture, but it's just like it's not necessary. It doesn't have any plot significance. This character, there's like 4 of these characters that could just be like cut out, and like the film would probably flow better. So I don't know what was the incessant need to have like 10 main characters in this movie. But there's a reason like Guardians of the Galaxy worked, because there was like half of that. So like if you're gonna follow Guardians of the Galaxy or like the first Avengers,
it was a lot better established.
If you're gonna follow like the first Avengers or first Guardians, like for like structure, like those had like half the characters you had, and it worked so much better. So
yeah, it's very true. Yeah, like I said, there were some great things to it, and there were some pretty subpar things. Overall, it's pretty mid.
Also, there was that one. I just remember this. There was that one weird line in the beginning where they bring up Doctor Strange when he's just like, "Are you a wizard? Are you Doctor Strange?" And it's just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he's like, he turned me into a draft. He's like, you'd be a cute draft.
They keep bringing up that fucking. They keep bringing up that draft joke. It's like fucking Allie with the ostrich joke. It's not funny. Stop it. You don't look like a fucking animal, okay? Why would you want to be a giraffe? Who would ever want to be a giraffe?
Yeah, it's super weird.
I hate that fucking question that people ask. Like, if you'd be one animal, what would you be? Oh yeah, I'd want to be a fucking bird. That'd be so cool. Such a dumb fucking question. No, I want to be a fucking fish. Like, who wants to be any animal besides a fucking human?
Yeah, it'd be cool to maybe be an animal for like a few minutes, but other than that, it's like, okay, well.
If you could be one animal for the rest of your life.
Creatures on the planet. We're already the most advanced creatures on the planet. The only creatures that probably have conversations about what other animal we would want to be. So why would you actually want to be a different animal? Animalception.
Yeah, very dumb. Well, yeah, I don't know what we're planning to cover next week, because I don't know if anything's coming out this weekend, from what I remember.
Yeah, I don't know about next week. And then isn't the week after next already the one where you're coming back into town?
Yeah, so we're probably not going to record that week. So it's also Thanksgiving, so we'll probably be busy anyway.
Yeah, we'll probably have to take Thanksgiving week off, and then if there's no new release, maybe we'll just cover a franchise or something next week. We'll think of something fun to talk about, but
Well, yeah, I know that definitely the next big release will probably be Ghostbusters. I don't know when they'll be. Probably the weekend after Thanksgiving. I don't know.
I would assume so.
We might end up seeing it together. If not, we'll just watch it and then review it. But
If there's time, we definitely should try to. But like, it all comes down to time because the Thanksgiving weekend obviously be super busy, and you're only here for a limited time. So.
Yeah, well, I don't know what plans you have. We can talk about that later. But yeah, we'll definitely. There was like a final trailer for Ghostbusters, and like it was pretty hype. I don't know if you saw it. Like at the end, it was pretty hype.
Yeah. It's pretty hype. It seems like they've given away like way more than I would have wished they would in a trailer. But like,
it's
either
Sony.
way,
It's Sony, bro.
It.
It's Sony.
I mean, I'm a decent fan of the original, so.
Yeah, I'm not really like I wasn't hyped for this movie or anything, but like the ending of that trailer like got me hyped a little bit. Just because like I don't know, I really do like the first movie.
I mean, the original classic. I can't think of a single person who dislikes that movie.
And like it wasn't really like franchise material, at least with what they've done so far. So we'll see what they do with this one. I know it'll be better than whatever the fuck that remake was, and I know definitely better than whatever the fuck that Ghostbusters 2 was. Because I don't care what people say, that movie was terrible.
Well, yeah, I think most like rational people will agree that Ghostbusters 2 is just not that good.
Well, it's probably on the same level as the remake, probably just a little bit better, but I don't think many people will admit that. But Ghostbusters 2 is fucking bad. So.
Yeah, Ghostbusters sucks, and the 2016 one is also terrible. So, but the original's a classic. It's a great comedy with horror elements that like lightly like touches in that like actually establishes a lot of it. So, I'm excited for Ghostbusters Afterlife. I mean, just hopefully it'll be like a true continuation.
Yeah, because Ghostbusters 3, man, it was so complicated to get made. And it's kind of like finally getting made, but like it's been so long, it doesn't really feel like a Ghostbusters 3, but.
Yeah, it's like annoyingly so, but we can get into a lot more Ghostbusters discussion when we cover that, so.
Busted makes me feel good.
He slimed me.
Yeah, there's a lot of sexual jokes in that movie. It's really, there's a lot of good adult humor in that. Yeah. I honestly might rewatch the first one semi soon. I don't know. It's a good movie to watch around. It's a good movie to watch around this time this year. So, yeah, don't you have a steelbook?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good steelbook film. But yeah, that'll probably be the end for this week. Again, if you're a Marvel fan, you've probably already seen it, but this isn't a big rush out to see it. I wouldn't. I mean, it's not a terrible one to just watch once.
Yeah.
It's a good one-time watch. There's nothing like terribly bad this film, but justifies what the critics are saying, and there's nothing so amazing that justifies what the audience are saying. So really, I would just say form your own opinion about it. I mean, you should do that with any movie. So, I mean, it was the same.
I mean, I think
it was the same with Kills. That had a really low critic rating, but like a pretty high audience rating, and I feel like it was genuinely probably more in the middle. And I don't know what's with the critics and audiences lately, but they're really wrong about movies lately, and it's getting a little annoying.
Yeah, at least that's how it seems to us. We've pretty much agreed on almost every new release this year, which has been nice. I'm waiting for like something to come out that we disagree on, but it's pretty much just been. And I'd say Eternals. I'd say it's worth a viewing, probably just in the grand scheme of things of like the MCU and all that. Especially if you're a fan, just go ahead and check it out because it really isn't that bad, and it's got great visual direction. It's a bit of a commitment because it's a long ass movie, but I mean, I did enjoy parts of it, and I'm not upset with it at all. And I'm gonna settle on a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, I mean, definitely check in next week. We'll probably have something posted. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that probably does it for this week's episode of AmityCast. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and comment your thoughts. Subscribe for future discussion. Hit the bell so you get notified. Yeah, that's probably all I got.
For sure. But yeah, we got a lot of content coming up. I don't know what we're going to all be doing in December yet. I don't really even know what's coming out in December, but we shall see.
Get a schedule.
We shall see. The only two I know is Matrix and Spider-Man, so we'll figure it out. But
yeah.
Oh my God, Matrix is coming out next month. Oh, I completely forgot about that movie.
Yeah, that's happening.
I might have to watch the first 3 Matrixes to even watch that. I don't know. But yeah, check in next week. Have a good night or day wherever you guys are. Yeah, I'll probably do it. So yeah, any last thoughts?
No, that's all I've got.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Like and subscribe, or we will do something.